directors of Unmosque, one of the people who did Unmosque, and I said to him, you know, brother, I have so many sisters that need husbands, and I can't find good husbands because the majority of them confess to me that they're either watching pornography or doing something else. I mean, I'm a therapist. I see this all the time. So we got a lot of work to do, and this is why, you know, my vision for every member of this family is that you come and you have a place to be not judged, but that you have a place that, inshallah, you encourage toward growth. Because when I came to this religion, I saw all the potential. I saw that, wow, this is like a panacea for all the world's ills. If you have Islam, the peace of Islam, you don't need growth. You don't have to enmesh yourself in one movie after another movie, in one video game after another video game, because you have peace. You don't need to escape into anything. But the world today is predominantly anesthetizing their pain because they don't have peace. Debt is another way you don't have peace. I've never seen anybody go to the post box with a smile on their face looking forward to all the debts, the bills that are going to be in that mailbox. How many people love to go get the mail? Yeah.
I did it.
One person likes to go, but you see, he's a minor, that's why. Because he can hand the bills to dad.
There is more junk, that's why I don't like it.
And then you get all the other junk that's trying to get you to get more in debt.
I
So,
know that.
inshallah, we have just a few minutes. I was going to share some of these. I hope you've benefited from today. I didn't finish actually, so let me do this.
That is a good.
Wow.
That is a good.
Zakat al-Fitr is an obligatory charity on every free Muslim, provided they actually have the necessary amount of food, that is 5 pounds or 2.03 liters of food, and that on the night before Eid and on the Eid itself, this is in excess of what one needs to feed oneself and those whom one is obliged to support. What one needs to clothe them in excess of one's debts and housing expenses. So if you have this, you pay this Eid. If you don't, pay this zakat before the prayer is finished, your fasting is not accepted, folks. So it's a responsible pay. If you have it, now if you don't have it, Allah doesn't expect you to pay what you don't have. Yes, sister?
Is Zakat the same thing as Zakat al-Fitr? No.
No. Remember I separated Sadaqah from the voluntary compulsory. That payment of 2.5% is compulsory. This, if you have it, some say it's wajib. This is something different. But it's very applicable because it's the month of Ramadan, and in about 9 days, we're all going to go to the Eid service, and everybody's going to be told, if you don't pay Zakat al-Fitr, your fasting will not be accepted. How many people have heard that before? How many people have not heard that before? Something's wrong with the hand raising.
So is this back to the $10?
This is back to the $10 now. Yes. Because this stuff needs to be covered because next week is the only week we have before Eid. So I needed to cover this stuff today.
But you really have to pay this on next Sunday.
Before the Eid prayer. The earlier the better, and let me tell you why.
So you can pay it before.
Yes, the earlier you pay it, we can then distribute it to those families. So for example, we have some families in our family that don't have clothes for Eid. If we can collect this money, and that's why we pass around envelopes for you to put that this is the Zakat al-Fitr, then we can go out and make sure that they have the same kind of Eid that we have. We can truly demonstrate that we want for our brother what we're selling. My wife has been, may Allah bless her, shopping this week with funds that we've already received, buying clothes and stuff for people so that they can go to Eid. Now this is a different subject, but the Prophet ﷺ said, that the old women, the menstruating women, should go to the Eid service and enjoy the fellowship. That if they don't have a garment, they should borrow one from their companion. That's how important this is, and that's why I've just hit the tarmac, but I got to cover this stuff because I owe it to Allah. As a responsible imam, you've got to hear this stuff before I eat. It is obligatory for one to support the persons listed below, whether one is male or female, when one has the money in excess of one's own living expenses, and those of one's wife, meaning enough for a day and night, oneself taking priority over others, followed by one's wife, who takes precedence over other family members. One's father, father's father, and on up, one's mother, grandmother, from either parent's side and on up, one's children, male and female, their children, and on down. Islam is has a collective approach to making sure that everyone is taken care of. It's not about me. It's not the individualist approach of the Western world. If one's excess amounts to only part of the required zakat, one must pay as much of it as one has. Someone obliged to pay the zakat of Eid al-Fitr must also pay it for every person he is obliged to support, that is his dependent. And if they have enough food, 5 pounds per person above his own expenses and theirs. Okay. So it was also referred to in a weighted condition.
So we should pay for our parents as well?
If your parents don't have the means to pay, and you can, you should pay for your parents. Yes. If you have a baby in the fetus, most scholars say you must pay on that as well. So if you're expecting that child should be paid for. I'm sorry, in the womb. What did I say, in the fetus? I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely can't be a baby in the fetus. Thank you. Wow. Until I'm not an OBGYN. Yeah. So, if one is obligated to pay the zakat of Eid al-Fitr only, and one has enough to pay a part of it, then one begins by paying one's own, then that of one's wife, young child, father, mother, and then one's adult child who is without an income because he is chronically ill or insane. So if you had an adult child that was chronically ill or insane and you had the money, you would pay for them. Otherwise, one is not obliged to support him or her. A wealthy woman married to a man too poor to pay her Eid al-Fitr zakat is not obliged to pay her own. Did you hear that, sisters? A wealthy woman married to a man too poor to pay her zakat, Eid al-Fitr zakat is not obliged to pay her own. This is similar to one of the exceptions. Remember the expiation for sins if you have conjugal relationships during Ramadan? Are women punished? No. What about the men?
Oh, yeah.
What's the punishment? Fasting 2 consecutive months.
Consecutive?
Because it's a right. 2 consecutive months. Yes, ma'am. That's the fifth. So, because that is considered a right upon a man. You see, this is why when a man says what's mine is hers and what's hers is hers, that's the truth in Islam. Because Islam has made us responsible for our wives. That's why everything that you earn as a woman, you're entitled to it. Some husbands aren't going to like me after this. But that's the Islamic way. That's how elevated women are. Now, if you want to share, the Quran says you can share. And we'll say, alhamdulillah. But the reality is that men, you have a right to be taken care of. That's how exalted you are as women in Islam.
But nowadays they say mine is mine, yours is mine too.
But that's not what Islam says. That's what they say. You're right.
I saw it so long.
Shafi says that the zakat of Eid al-Fitr becomes obligatory when the sun sets on the night before Eid. Now this is something different. The Shafi school, the Hanafi says it must be paid before the Eid prayer. The Shafi school says it must be prayed the night before. Allah knows best. These are schools of thought, but the earlier you pay it, the more we can help other people. It is not righteousness to face east or west, but righteousness is to believe in Allah in the last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets, and to give money for His love to your relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveler, the beggars, and to ransom a slave, to establish salah and pay zakat, and those who fulfill their promises and endure with fortitude hardships and peril, those are the true in faith, and those are the pious. So what I'm teaching you about today is a key, is a way to be among the pious, inshallah. And I hope that you see that. I hope you see the intention in that. That's my intention. Surah 51 and 19, and in their wealth is legal claim for the needy who ask and the deprived. Therefore, it is not justifiable to send our zakah outside when there are families in need and deprived right here in our community. Scholars argue about this all the time, but the majority of scholars say that your neighbors are entitled to the money before you send it other places. Now, I want to say this. When I look at Gaza and what they're through right now, if I had money, I'll be sending it to Gaza. I'll be feeding my people in this family first. But if I had money outside of that, I'd be sending it to Gaza right now. 40,000 people displaced. That's what we know about. Look at all the orphans that are going to come out of that. An opportunity for Muslims to send money and take care of these orphans. Yes,
can you divide, like do some here and then send some here?
you can divide. Yes, yes you can. Okay, Jazakallah khair. I love you all for the sake of Allah. I look forward to seeing you, inshallah, in the same place, the same time next week. My wife has something to say.